out than you eat, raw fish. Ugh.
Don't even wiggle a toe or I'll turn you into a lead soldier.
And I don't know who you are, mister, but there's been a big mistake here.
The only mistake you made was getting drunk when you should have kept running.
We are not going to allow any more big plays tonight, gentlemen. What are you looking at? You want to be out there in that field so bad?
Yes, sir.
Then show me something!
It's the Al Travis Show. We get him in here as often as we can. Very happy to have him back. He is Representative Dave Baker. Representative, thanks for being here.
Great to be here. Thank you, Al.
No, it's our pleasure. 2 weeks in, let me ask you your thoughts on it. We started with, of course, the Senator Hoffman walk up the stairs thing on Tuesday, then the Melissa Hortman tribute. Tuesday was just all we could hope for as far as possibly being a unifying day, but that didn't last very long. Your thoughts on what happened the next?
Yeah, that was actually a remarkable first day in session. I think, again, John Hoffman's a good friend of mine. I've worked together with him a lot. I do have said this many times. Melissa Hortman was a formidable opponent, but her leadership skills were incredible, and I think it's a horrible loss. I think that should have set the stage, I think, for some cooperation. The next session we had on Thursday that week, Al, it just didn't go well. The one thing we wanted to do was bring up the OIG bill, which is that Office of Inspector General. It passed the Senate on a hugely bipartisan effort in the last days of the last session. It should have been really teed up for us. And yet the Democrats right now are playing games with it in the State Government Finance Committee. I think they finally push it off to another committee, but they're trying to gut that bill to take out the enforcement of it. And it's been just like, they're not serious about fixing the fraud. I think that's the one thing, that if we do anything this year, it's to give our citizens in Minnesota the clarity of what we can do as legislators to fix this and stand up stronger guardrails with real teeth and independence, because nobody trusts the governor right now. I'm a guy who actually trusts a lot of people, but Walz is not one we can do with anything with. But let's get on this thing. Yeah.
Well, the governor's proposal was to throw out another 18 laws that you guys could do. But in reality, when you look at Optum, that company we're paying a couple $1 million to tell us how to do things better, said basically if you just follow the rules we got, you save $1.7 billion. That isn't fraud. That's just us not following along. And then his guy O'Malley comes out with a 57-page report, thinks you need this Office of Inspector General. He called it, I keep forgetting, international state, in-state, something or other, interstate, an independent statewide monitor. Sounds like an OIG. So he's not following those recommendations. If the people we hire aren't following the rules anyway, sir, you can spend the rest of your days and nights making rules. Doesn't matter. It's not changing anything. So how do we get that to change? He just took the gal who's been interim director, been with the Department of Human Services since 2017. I mean, almost 9 years. She was the assistant commissioner, gets the interim. Now she's in charge. Nothing changes her. She sat in front of a committee when the OLA came out and said that a bunch of people in the department were falsifying records and backdating things, and they've never seen anything like before. And her words were, yeah, I didn't know that. This is, you know what I'm saying? If it was me, my company, don't worry, that person will be fired before I get out of the building today. You know, you got to do something. It's got to be illegal to falsify information. That's why they call it falsifying information. But we don't hear anything that happened to any of those people. My point is, if you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, you're crazy.
You are.
And that's where we're at in Minnesotans. We're crazy we keep this up.
Well, we're foolish to think that the current administration has any sense of how they're really going to fix this. Because, again, the one thing that I'm seeing from my vantage point is the Walz administration is not telling the DFLers in the House, get this bill over the finish line that the Senate passed in a super bipartisan manner. What are you waiting for? That is the one thing that we all have agreed to, that makes the most sense right now. But all this other noise and white noise around us is not doing us any good. The redacted report that I saw late last week from Optum, it's a waste of time. Millions of dollars we spent for that. I mean, we're going to learn from it, but we got to get about this fraud.
Let me ask you this, because I know the Senate passed it 60 to 7, this OIG bill. Yep. But as I'm hearing rumblings now, that If they didn't know, the Democrats in the Senate, if they didn't know that the House was going to reject it, that vote would be different. That vote wouldn't have been 60-7. There are people who are willing to vote for it because they knew it wasn't going anywhere. Is that the kind of weird gamesmanship that is going on with even this bill, which a Democrat came up with, Gustafson? It's bipartisan. I mean, there's all the people that signed up on this thing. Is that still even gamesmanship on the Senate side, do you think?
You know, it could have been. I didn't think it was that way then when they passed the bill, because I actually literally thought that it was sort of a no-brainer. But I've realized over the last several months watching this play out over the summer, it was gamesmanship. Again, it happens both ways. I mean, when we pass something, we know it's going to be stopped or passed on the other body because of different reasons. But I think you're right. I think that is a reasonable thing to think that some of them could have voted for it knowing that they were going to stop it, and we had no idea that there was some secret society that was going to derail that and set it aside. Walz has got his fingers in this thing, I know, deeper than anybody realizes.
What I don't understand is, okay, let's say it's 67-67 in the House last fall when you guys got out. We're now 9 months of being internationally made fun of because of the fraud, right? Every newspaper and magazine, everyone says this is what's going on in Minnesota. And are you telling me there isn't one middle-of-the-road Democrat that didn't say, okay, I don't think the OIG is perfect, but it'll get us started. We can always change this and change a little that and make fixes to it. How is it even possible one person hasn't made that call? I find this remarkable.
I go back to the 23 session, Al, when not a single one of them broke off from some of the radical, wild, $19 billion surplus spending, 39% increase in the state, increase in the budget. They have such a handle on around their members. I've talked to some of the moderate ones that I consider that we can work with on a lot of things. They will not break rank on certain items, certain bills. Don't even bring it up. I can't talk about it is what they've told me. I can't talk about it. Are you serious? You know, they've got their own election certificates, by the way. And, you know, you need to remember that. You're not... Speaker Dowd back in the day told me, you don't answer to me, Dave. You answer to your constituents back at home. So they don't play by the same rules is what's so hard for me to see.
It's hard for the rest of us to swallow, to be quite frank. So where do we go from here then? Give me your opinion. What can get done? Is it just going to be, we're going to name downtown Main Street, Maple Grove Avenue? Is it going to be stupid stuff no one actually cares about? Is that what we're looking at?
You mean with just the rest of the session, Al, or you mean just around
the rest of the session?
I think that the rhetoric will start to settle down. I think that the DFL had to get a lot of anger out because of all the Metro surge. They just had to. Every time there's a moment in a committee meeting, they have to bring up the federal side of things. Trump, they have to throw him under the bus for everything. They have to do everything about Metro Surge. And again, there's been some problems with Metro Surge. I'm not the one to saying that I'm defending this. But what we need to do is move on now to do some legislating. We have to govern now. This is not politics where it should be. But I know there's an election coming up. We all know that. But it's time to govern. We really should pass a very reasonable bonding bill that fixes things that we own in Minnesota. Very tight, very reasonable. Our budget forecast improved a tiny bit. Thank God we cut $6 billion of spending last year. And that was thanks to the Republicans that actually had to say no more. And we said we have to cut spending. If that hadn't been done, we'd have been in real trouble. I think we're going to get a few things done around the OIG. I don't think that we are going to get out of here without doing something that's very similar to what the Senate did pass. It just takes them more time to do their wiggle rounds and their grandstanding. They're going to want to do everything they can, but we are going to demand that gets done this year because we have to do something about the fraud. I know it's our number one concern is helping fix the fraud so that we're not this national and international embarrassment around the country. I
know you don't necessarily come up with this yourself, so I'm holding you accountable for everybody. But when the Democrats came in, they came in with an 11-point bullet point on how they are going to handle the ICE issue, their agenda. None of it had to do with fraud. And they're like, what are you talking about? I get it. You don't have like ICE. You got it. That's a federal issue. I don't know what we can do here to say, but okay, let's go talk about it. I'm okay with that. But on your side as well, sir, nothing about ICE, nothing about gun control. It was literally all about fraud. I mean, it's easy to set up the commercials for the next run. I get that. But was either team playing, I mean, as a Republican, yeah, I know ICE was there. I know the gun control thing. We were going to talk about this. To not even have that on our docket seemed a little strange.
It probably did. Again, I think we were so focused on getting the fraud figured out right away. This is going to be a very short session, the shortest session that I've ever been involved with in my 12 years. But they're really, again, and when you start talking about federal or excuse me, state policy that wants to oversee the federal policy, and there's going to be a problem coming in with the feds want to come here again someday. What does that do to us? It doesn't do anything but waste time and energy creating rules and laws and talk about guns that aren't going to make a difference because it isn't going to change. And when the feds come in here and have a reason to come here for federal enforcement reasons, what our laws are doesn't matter. We are under the umbrella of the federal government. So they're wasting so much time on those kind of issues. We need to just get serious about fixing fraud. I think getting a reasonable bonding bill done, but just let's get some policy that we can do. I mean, even paid family. I've asked this big question about paid family. Is there anything you guys want to do to tweak it now that it's out? And they say there's not a single thing they would want to change.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
Plan on doing that. We're going to certainly plan on it.
We have to talk about it on the other side because I'm under the impression right now is that if you were a part of the ICE protest and you got maced or you can apply for paid family leave. Like we'll actually be paying the wages of those who went and we'll talk about it on the other side. I've got him, Representative Dave Baker. Stick around. Lot more to come.
Hey, Brian, what do you call a lobbyist with a sense of humor?
Me?
Close. Momentum advocacy.
We help clients get real results at the Capitol with strategy, relationships, and just enough charm to make it fun.
From policy wins to media spots, we've got your back.
Nonprofits, businesses, coalitions, we've helped them all.
And we do it with nearly 90 years of combined experience.
Momentum advocacy.
As always, your friends at the Capitol. Learn more about our team at momentum-advocacy.com.
Think about it. A famous politician once said, "You're entitled to your opinion, but you are not entitled to your own facts." But in a world full of AI and fake news, where can Minnesotans find the facts? Center of the American Experiment is Minnesota's go-to source for fact-based analysis and common sense solutions for taxes, energy, public safety, and our kids' education. Visit AmericanExperiment.org for more information. Think About It is brought to you by Center of the American Experiment, Minnesota's think tank.
The Al Travis Show, the last place you can go and hear all sides. Respectful, thoughtful, and grateful.
I've got Representative Dave Baker with us, and we're talking about paid family leave. Sir, this is, to me, interesting. Do we get like a weekly report on that? How many people are taking it? Things I didn't even think about till now. If I applied, let's say I got gassed at the Wiffle building, and I have this nasal congestion issue because of it, I sign up and get paid family leave. Do I sign up and say I need all 12 weeks right now? I know it's going to be that long. Do I get it a week at a time, and every week I call in and say, nope, need another week? And when I get off, do I go back to work? Yeah, I can. It looks like I can make it handle. Work a couple weeks, check's going to come in, then I let the government know. Or do I let the government know the second I walk back into my boss's office? How does any of this work? Do we know?
Well, we do know how it works. I mean, they're supposed to take a minimum of 7 days off. The first time you want to do anything, you have to apply for a 7-day leave under the paid family medical thing. It's not intended for if you're sick for 3-4 days, if you need to have some medical attention. I'm certain that people will try to abuse this, but you have to have a doctor's excuse, a doctor's note by a certified doctor. So unlikely, but the ESST program, as you know, Al, they're throwing that out there like you can use that at any time for the hours that you have made up for that. But technically, this is not supposed to happen with paid family. But again, according to testimony in our committee, people are using it, and that's shocking to me. That should be a problem that nobody should be using for that kind of a thing at this point, unless they were seriously injured for something.
Yeah. But you're talking the ESST, the earned sick and safe time. And how is that different? Maybe people got lost between the two of them.
So those are two big programs. The one ESST, the Earned Sick and Safe Time, which came out 2 years ago, that is 100% paid for by the employer. If an employee works 30 hours, you get 1 hour of sick pay. So what's happening is a lot of those hours kind of build up to 6, 7, 8 hours of accumulated. People will just take it the day before, and they'll say, yeah, I'm going to take the day off. We saw the Democrat Socialists of America in the Twin Cities promote that, and when they took people and wanted them to help protest on that Friday protest, they said, use your ESST. That was flagrantly wrong and illegal to do that. But that is a difference. Paid family is more long-term or short-term disability. You're going to be up to 12 weeks on one event and up to 20 weeks in a calendar year if you have two separate events. But you're not supposed to use that unless you have at least a week length of any kind of a medical condition for paid family.
And it isn't your sickness. I use that as an example. I'm sick, but I thought this was to help your family members who are sick.
It could yourself, be me. Right? It could be my family member. It could be bonding. It could be military. There's a number of reasons where you could take that off.
All right. And you're saying the other side doesn't see any need to fix this or tighten it up.
Well, again, when I've asked the commissioner and their folks that work there, is there anything that I can do this year to tweak it? There are things that we're going to be working on. We really need to focus on is still a very small business exemption. Small businesses are getting pummeled by this. They need to have a break to be able to opt out if they choose to do that. We're going to continue to work on that on different levels. There's some S corps that if you're just a 1 or 2 person small employer, but you're an S corp, and for example, me and my wife, we're 50% owners. We are not out of it. We should be able to opt out of that because if we're a percentage of an owner, we should have that. We're going to try to do some small things like this to make it cleaner and easier to work through the process. But right now, they claim that there's nothing wrong that they would want to change. And we've got some serious stories that are happening that are causing problems in the workforce.
What about financially? I read that in the first month it had taken off so fast that this was going to blow up financially. But I also know that there's like a 25% built in. They can raise taxes up to whatever that number is, another 25% without asking for anything. Even at that number, does this thing stay solvent, or are they going to have to come back to you for more, or what happens if they hit the end?
Well, if they hit the end and they push the rate up to 1.1% of the total payroll cost, right now it's 0.88 for most employers. They put so much money up front, Al, that we're probably not going to be hitting that limit maybe for a year or two. But they're also, I'm hearing that they're overpaying people with the way they're factoring in and figuring out their payroll for these people taking time off. They'll take the highest quarter of the last 4 quarters, and that's what you're going to get paid. So what they kept telling us is that this is partial pay. Should be between that 55% and up to 90% if you're a low income earner. We're seeing people are getting up to 95 to 100% of their pay when they should be getting 65 to 70% of their pay. but it's how they're factoring this in. This is not fraudulent on the person looking for time off. It's what DEED is doing to factor this in. Whether it's a year-end bonus, whether it's those kind of things, those are all factor into what these people get paid. So I think it's going to run out of money sooner than they think.
And back in the day, unemployment insurance, you know, they've sent you a check and they didn't take taxes out. Are taxes taken out of this, or will these people at the end of the year have 20 weeks of basically full-time pay and no taxes taken out? Is this a huge tax hit coming up for everybody at the end of next year?
You will be paying for your portion of that that benefit you're getting from the employer. So you're going to be paying part of the taxes on that, because if you're paying for 50% of the premium already, you're paying that. The other half is going to come in a tax it later on.
I just mean as income. Is it taxable income at the end of the year that you isn't paid?
I believe it is. Yes, it's taxable income. It's a benefit. Yep.
All right. Sir, I am out of time. Love having you on. Let's hook it up that we can get you back on sooner than later.
Thanks
Is that fair?
again. Thank you, Al. We'll keep at it, fighting hard. Thank you.
Do it up. Representative Dave Baker on the Al Travis Show.
Take care.